Day. And also a piece of news about Gordon Brown last night called for fresh efforts for Middle East peace to be paid tribute to survivors of the Holocaust, and in an apparent reference to comments by an Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, I'll say that again, Ahmadinejad, also claimed to describe the views of those who wish to see Israel wiped off the map as frightening. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. It's 25 minutes after 5 o'clock. This is talkSPORT. I'm Mike Allen. Many thanks for your emails coming in, and also for the reassurances we've received from people who've been able, fortunately, to get in touch with loved ones in Thailand, that things seem to be okay. Doesn't seem to be any violence. It seems to be a peaceful coup. Well, thank goodness for that. Interesting piece in the Independent today that Britain's indigenous population is descended from a tribe of Iberian fishermen who crossed the Bay of Biscay 6,000 years ago. The DNA analysis has revealed that Celts have an almost identical genetic fingerprint to the inhabitants of coastal regions of Spain, whose own ancestors migrated north between 4,000 and 5,000 years BC. A team from Oxford University has found the discovery by Brian Sykes, Professor of Human Genetics at Oxford University, will herald a change in scientific understanding of Britishness. Still no news on Mother's paella recipe. Any news on the phones, John? Okay. If you wanted to call us, by the way, to talk about the developing story and the situation that's in Thailand, the number is 08704 20 20 20. 08704 20 20 20. We're just trying to hook up for one more time with Wayne Johnson, our contact in Bangkok. And Wayne, as you might have heard earlier on, if you're listening to the programme, was able to tell us that as far as he's concerned, part of Bangkok where he lives is very quiet, no drama. He's there. He's in place. We've got him. We are live with Wayne. Hello, Wayne. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Last time I spoke to you, you were off for some breakfast.
Yeah, I've had that.
You had that, and that was fine.
That's fine, yeah.
Any news around the town?
The situation's still the same, really. It's there's the army's on the street, but people just going back to their business. It's pretty calm. Obviously, there's not so many people out and about as normal, because most of the businesses, which I've just found out.
So, what does that mean? You won't be going into the office today?
No, the small businesses are okay. It's just the large corporations that are not working.
So they're keeping big lumps of people out of the city centre?
Yeah.
Right. Did you?
Yeah, there's still holiday makers going about doing their thing, and yeah, it's just you wouldn't think there was a coup on, to be honest.
No. But it's those things that happen and nobody takes any notice of it. It's just the enormity of a coup. They got the Humvees out, they got the tanks out, they got the troops out, and how can that happen and not be reported? How can it happen and not be covered on a UK radio station where we've got 45,000 people in residence? Some of them 45,000, which includes 25,000 holidaymakers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the situation, people are waking up now, there's a coup.
Yes, which would be a bit of a surprise for them, because they thought they said cornflakes, and something else happened. So, in your estimation, Wayne, what do you see as being the unfolding story for the rest of the day?
To be honest, I couldn't really say. I think it's just going to stay the way it is. The Thais are going to work. We've got people in our office that are working. Some look a bit sad, but mostly it's just like a normal day, but just very quiet. It's like a Sunday, really.
What do you think, from your experience of having lived in the city for 6 years, what do you think the reaction will be from the residents of Bangkok, the indigenous population? Do you think they'll protest?
I don't think so, because the understanding I have that the king has backed the army.
Right.
So
because they're carrying yellow scarves on the barrels of the guns on the tanks or something.
Yeah, that's to support the king.
Yeah.
The king's colour is yellow.
So, what's the common support for the king is quite strong in Thailand.
He's very strong.
Sorry?
Very, very strong.
Right. So your plans are to involve yourself in business today?
It's normal for us, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope it goes well and everything's smooth. Do think about your personal safety first when you leave home, though, won't you?
Oh, yeah, I will do. But I've just walked past the soldiers and that there, smiling and just normal.
Did they say anything?
They're not aggressive.
No, they didn't say anything to you?
No, they just smiled. They're not aggressive or nothing, no.
No. Well, that's a relief.
Yeah, but at the moment, you know, if anybody in the UK is worried about relatives now, it is pretty calm, and like Europeans and that are walking the streets and doing shopping. The shops are open, the stores are open.
Well, that's some sort of comfort, you know, because if all else goes wrong, at least you can get a shopping bag out and fill it up.
But yeah, it's pretty fast, I say.
Okay. Well, Wayne, thank you so much for being our eyes and ears in the city, and I owe you a favour. What can I do? What can I send you?
No, anything you like.
Okay, I'll get hold of a nice Bentley and gift wrap it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right, you're most welcome. Wayne Johnson talking to us from Bangkok in Thailand, where a military coup rolled out last night. If you've just woken up and you're thinking, what happened? Well, just imagine how the people think who live there. I just wanted to read. We had a very interesting download from the government website, but of course, as is always the way, it's the last piece of paper you can find. This is the latest information from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office website, www.fco.gov.uk. They claim this advice has been reviewed and reissued with an amendment to the summary, terrorism and political sections. The overall level of the advice has not been changed. In a moment, I'll give you a rundown of what it says. That's after this message. I'm Mike Allen. Good morning. This is talkSPORT.
On 1089 and 1053 AM and DAB Digital Radio, talkSPORT.
On the 19th of September, reads the Foreign and Commonwealth Office website relating to events in Thailand. On the 19th of September 2006, the Thai Army commander announced that he had established a reform council to take over the administration of the country. A nationwide state of martial law had been declared. The British Embassy in Bangkok is closely monitoring the situation. If you're currently in Bangkok, you should avoid moving around the city wherever possible. If you intend to travel to or are currently in Thailand, you should monitor all available information on the local situation and keep in contact with your tour operator. You should also avoid any demonstrations and large crowds. Movements around government buildings in Bangkok and in public may be restricted until the situation becomes clearer. That's the situation. If you wanted to monitor that site yourself, it's www.fco.gov.uk. And Melly is in Taunton in Somerset to call us on this issue. Hello, Melly.
Hello.
What can I do for you?
I wondered if you could just leave a message for my grandson Peter, who lives in Thailand. He's a teacher there.
Okay, I tell you what. Don't give me his number now on the air.
I don't know his phone number.
You don't?
No.
You just wanted me to pass a message on to him?
Yes, please. Will you just can I just hang on a moment, please?
Okay. What do you mean loose? I can't believe you said that. So we just have a long pause. Delicious indigestion. This is from Taunton in Somerset, which is where Melly is. That her grandson's in. Sorry.
Last I heard from my son, I was with my son a few weeks ago. They live in Wales. That Peter was leaving, but he's. Oh, it's all right. I haven't got my glasses on, and I'm turning over the pages to give you.
Well, I tell you what. You go and get your glasses, okay, and come back to me. Yes, you go and do that. All right, because how irritating when you can't read it. If it's your intention to call the station this morning, then call me now on this whole issue. 08704 20 20 20. witnessing major changes as we have on the world stage over the last 2 days, these are events that we should be talking about, and surely these events weren't a complete surprise to those in a position to comment. What can you tell me? 08704 20 20 20, or email. I'm waiting for the email now, sir. Any minute. talkSPORT.net. Let's go back and see if Mellie's got her paperwork sorted out. Hello, Mellie. No, I think that's a big fat no, good buddy. Hello, Mellie. No. Okay. I'll leave you there. Hopefully John will be able to get this all sorted out for you. It's been a surprising weekend with events in Hungary as such. We're watching them on the screen. We thought we got hooked up to an action movie, but no, the reality was it was events in Hungary that were getting out of hand. Graham Beecroft joins the programme to tell us what's happening in Alan Brazil's Sports Breakfast. Hi, Graham.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I've had a very busy night.
Have you?
Yes.
What have you been on?
I've been all over Thailand.
Yes. Have you? Have you spoken to anybody over there?
Yes. We just broke our connection with our contact who went out for something to eat and came back and said...
Oh, he is back?
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
And said the tourists are out and about, but when it comes to people going to large office buildings, so large crowds of people, they've been asked not to leave home, to stay home. So, yes, there are people about, but they're mostly tourists, so they're doing a bit of shopping and poking around. But the tanks are out. Those that are loyal to the king have got yellow silk ties around the barrels. That seems to be, a commonality amongst all armoured vehicles at the moment.
That are loyal to the king?
Yeah.
As opposed to the Prime Minister, you mean?
No, they're loyal to the king.
So the troops are loyal to the king as opposed to the Prime Minister?
Let me get a piece of paper. You tell us what you've got lined up, and I'll just check that, and I can show it to you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, okay. All right, well, on the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast coming up, we are going to be looking back at last night's football, of course. Plenty of interesting matches and some close squeaks for one or two Premiership sides. I was at the game involving Reading last night. They were in action against Darlington, and Darlington played really, really well. Reading, in the end, winning 4-2 on penalties, and that was after Darlington were reduced to 10 men for all of extra time, and around about 17 minutes of normal time as well. In the other matches, the one main casualty was Wigan Athletic. They went down against Crewe Alexandra, so a good win for Crewe last night. We're going to be talking to some of our reporters at the main games. Nigel Pearson was at the Bescott Stadium watching Walsall put the pressure on Bolton, but Bolton winning that one by 3-1 in the end. We're also going to be talking to Kevin Lawrence. He was watching Peterborough United against Everton. Peterborough won that by 2-1. So we've got plenty of reporters all around the place. We're going to be reflecting as well on somebody who's going to be cycling to all 20 Premiership grounds this week for a very good cause for charity. The Ryder Cup gets ever closer. We're going over to Ireland to speak to Irish golf correspondent Will Downing on that one. Simon Clare will be giving us all the latest odds on everything, including the Ryder Cup. I noticed the American Wags were at the races yesterday. They went to the Curragh to watch some top-class racing there. We'll be reflecting on that with Tomo, of course. Henk will be here with the sports headlines, and Bob Bubka, who's over from the United States, will be joining us as well to talk about all the action with the golf. And I should imagine there were some very angry fans after one or two of last night's results. Millwall not doing well at all. Millwall losing at home to Southampton by 4-0, and the pressure there on Nigel Spackman, the Millwall manager. So all of that, plus a competition, a chance to win £1,000 in the Sports Breakfast coming up. That's all to do with Bibby Financial Services, and Alan Brazil is going to be on the putter this morning, putting under pressure.
Putting under pressure.
Putting under pressure.
There you go.
Yep.
Support for the king. Yellow silk flowers.
Right, as opposed to the Prime Minister, yes. Yeah, good stuff. Okay.
I knew you'd be pleased. No doubt you'll be keeping right across this story.
Oh, we will, of course, yeah, very much so, yes.
There was a book that reminded me of you yesterday. We did a piece on it, but it's written by a guy called Richard Beard, and it reflects his concern that Australians are so terrific at sport. So he went over there to find out why, and it's such an amusing read.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's a proof copy, so, it's not to be, it's got to go back. But
Right.
it's just interesting that someone should be so impressed, because even as a kid, he wanted to go to Australia so bad, he dug a big hole in his back garden, and then when it got a little bit too exhausting, he said, it's time to declare for tea. But it was just so sweet, so charming.
Good.
Mandy Pursuits, it works on 2 levels, because the beach at Sydney is Mandy Beach.
That's right, yeah.
You know these things, you're a king
Well,
of
I wasn't
sport.
aware of that one.
Yes.
Okay,
Have
thank
a
you
good
very
day.
much. Will
Thanks,
do.
Graham. Right, let's see if we can get a bit of closure for Melly, who's in Taunton in Somerset. Hello, Melly.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, yes, I've got my glasses on now. I'm a little bit more awake.
I tell you what might be better if you're passing on names and things. If I put you back to John, our producer, and he writes this down for you. All right? Okay, I think that might be better. So, John, I'm passing this across to you. Okay. Thanks, by the way, for the ongoing calls from people saying thanks very much for the information, and we're getting in touch with our friends or relatives. That is excellent. Then, you know, we've done a good job. Well, I would think that would be the yardstick that we should be judged by. And I did mention to you the new look for Madonna, which is short blonde hair. Looks a little bit spiky, but I suppose it's not very different to Victoria Beckham's hair, actually. It's sort of raggedy bob. And according to coverage in the Daily Express on page 7 today, John Reid yesterday refused to rule himself out of succeeding Tony Blair as Prime Minister. He teased the party over his chances, but seemed to leave himself room to run if colleagues decided to back him. In a veiled comment on Gordon Brown, the Blairite Home Secretary, speaking at the Police Superintendents Association annual conference in Cheshire, that's a mouthful, made a reference to being burned up by ambition. No doubt there'll be more to come from that. The soaring cost of a cooked breakfast is still in the headlines and talked about. It's an interesting thing that you can go to a large chain restaurant and get a compressed breakfast in a bagel and a cup of coffee, and it's about, I don't know, like $2.80 or something like that. But you go and get the same thing in a cafe. I don't mean a transport cafe, but a breakfast diner, and it's somewhere around 10 or 11 quid. It's quite extraordinary. Cannot believe it. By the way, talkSPORT is the address, talksport.net for emails. That'll be terrific. Thanks very much indeed. We might have a couple of calls coming in before we... Yes? Possibly. Okay, that'll be good. I must admit, it's been today that the coverage we've been able to give this situation in Thailand and reflect what has happened in Hungary would not have been possible if it hadn't have been for my producer John Hearn. So many thanks to John. Otherwise, we'd have been sitting here saying, if only we had another pair of hands. So he was actually more than another pair of hands. He was another pair of feet too, which is excellent because there's a bit of running around needs to be done. Later on, if you want to be calling John Gaunt, who's going to be here this morning at 10 through until 1, it'll be 08704 20 20 20. 08704 20 20 20. In the Guardian today, coup as army seizes power in Thailand. Thailand was thrown into turmoil and martial law yesterday when the army sent tanks and troops into the capital to wrest power from the Prime Minister. In the first military intervention for 15 years in this notoriously coup-prone country, the army threw a cordon of tanks round the government offices in Bangkok, seized control of television stations, and revoked the constitution. That's from the front page of The Guardian. Most of the coverage seems to be non-explosive. News we have in from people we've spoken to on the floor seems to say it's restful. Are we taking this, or we're taking an update on the travel? Are we going to take the travel? Okay, let's go with the travel.
talkSPORT Traffic and Travel.
Hi, Russell. What's
Morning,
happening?
morning, Mike. It looks like there's probably a bit of a windy start in parts of Wales, because we just noticed there's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit in force on the Britannia Bridge on the A55 at the moment, so clearly a bit of extra care being advised. There's also a bit of heavy traffic on the M6 in Staffordshire. Looks like the roadworks from overnight have overrun, going southbound from junctions 13 to 12 from Stafford South to the A5, so that looks busier than it would normally be. While in Dorset there's been a nasty accident. The A35 Christchurch Road closed in both directions between Knoll Road and Boscombe Spa Road in Bournemouth. Plus, in North Yorkshire, a very nasty accident on the A64 in York. A motorcycle and a lorry involved. The westbound carriageway closed off from the Hopgrove roundabout, which is the junction with the A1237, along to the Grimston Bar interchange, where it meets the A166 and the Hull Road. Plus, in the West Midlands, the A34 at Spark Hill in Birmingham, they've got a lane closure at the moment with some temporary traffic lights going between Durham Road and Shoal Green Lane, and that apparently is following an earlier fire in a nearby building, and that's expected to continue to cause problems right through the morning rush. I'm Russell Holding with talkSPORT Traffic and Travel.
talkSPORT Traffic and Travel. Good morning, sir. How can I help you?
Good morning. Do you have Peter Jackson's classic remake of King Kong?
I'm afraid we're fresh out of monkey movies, sir.
Never mind. How are you on Ang Lee's multi-Oscar winning story of Cowboy Love, Brokeback Mountain?
I'm afraid we never have that at the end of the week, sir. Get it fresh on a Monday.
No matter. Well, stout yeoman, a copy of James Cameron's epic story of ocean liner tragedy Titanic, if you please.
We don't get much go for that round here, sir.
Not much It's the single highest grossing box office success ever.
Not round here, sir.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to shoot you.
Righto, sir.
What a senseless waste of human life. For unlimited DVD rental without the hassle, click talksport.net and sign up to mymoviestream.com.
talkSPORT, a radio station which occasionally works late at the office.
We're coming over.
On Just Missed the Last Train DAB digital radio.
Into the penalty area!
And clothes scattered all over the front lawn.
Gone wide!
1089 and 1053 AM.
talkSPORT. What am I going to do?
talkSPORT.
It's 12 minutes to 6 o'clock. I'm Mike Allen. Good morning. talkSPORT. Craig is in, can't see South Argyllshire. Hello, Craig.
South Argyllshire. I'm in Troon in Ayrshire.
Oh, I heard of Troon.
Yeah, Craig from Troon. What it was, I hadn't been tuned in. I was actually watching Sky, and I just flicked over to talkSPORT because I couldn't sleep. And before I flicked over, I was thinking to myself, I wish the Sunday night quiz was still on. Remember years ago when it was Talk Radio?
Oh, yes.
You did the Sunday night quiz?
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It was so addictive, and there was hundreds of people phoning in. Can you bring that back? I didn't even realise you were on.
There you
And,
are,
I used to phone up years ago, and I was Craig from Troon, and then at one point I was in Burton-on-Trent, and it was just brilliant, and it was just to suggest that you could bring that back. I didn't realise you were on. It was just, I thought, I just switched over the digibox, and I thought, that sounds like Mike Allen.
Well, and there it was, the Sunday. I used to enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
It was good, wasn't it? It was good. You don't happen to have a recording of it, do you?
I've got bits and bobs of tapes. I've got a tape, right, and it's like an old cassette tape, and it's a bit tatty.
The reason
it's me on it.
Oh,
right?
well, that'll be fine. The reason I asked was, I can't remember the exact format, because it's one format out of 3.
Oh, yeah, well, basically it was, one general knowledge question, 1 point. If you got 5 points, then you got a bonus for up to 5.
Right.
And that would give you 10 points. And you used to stop it. If anyone got 30 points, you stopped it. Basically, that was the limit. And once I got through and took part, and I'm in the kitchen, and I was a little bit nervous because, you know, you're going to be put on. And I ended up winning it with 30 points. Not that I'm a genius or anything. It was just luck that the questions that I was asked I knew. And 2 days later, a big Royal Mail van with Talk Radio T-shirts, sweatshirts, autographed photographs of all yourselves, James Whale, everything, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And that would be so good if you could bring that back.
Well, I'm only here on a sort of caretaker basis, you know, so I'm off for a bit. So when I come back is sort of on the wind, really.
Right.
But I'm so pleased that you remember and you enjoyed it. I just had to check which format that we're talking about, because there was a qualifier, there was a this, there was a that, you know, there were several versions of it, and I just had to try and make out which one we were talking about.
All right. right, well, this was Sunday night, about 10 o'clock you started. And it went on, but it wasn't, it was packed. I mean, you were jammed, and if I got through, there were so many people, and there was people on from Germany and everything. I mean, it was massive. And but it would have to be built up. I mean, you couldn't just say, right, we're having a quiz now. You would have to do it even once a week, or...
Oh, yeah.
And it was great, you know.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
How have you been keeping in the meantime, then?
Fine.
Okay.
Not bad. I can remember, I mean, I was living in Troon, right, so I was Craig from Troon, and then I was down in Burton-on-Trent, and I phoned up and I said, it's Craig from Burton-on-Trent, and you started on about, in fact, I've got this on the tape, and it's you talking about pints of Bass.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, because when I was a child, Bass used to come out of Burton.
Yeah.
And they could only, or when I was a kid, I can remember my father telling me that when he used to drink that beer, you could only get it in the summer months or something.
Yeah.
It's just some of the detritus that you just collect in your mind.
I know.
You never use it again.
I lived in Burton-on-Trent, and at one point I ran a nightclub, and I became the biggest alcoholic you've ever known. But, no, I've kind of got older now and wiser.
It's very difficult, isn't it, if you work next to something, that you don't become sort of addicted to it. Because, I used to work for a while just doing the newspapers when I was a kid at school. I used to number up the newspapers before delivering them.
Yeah.
And it was so difficult not to end up spending half the day's money, which was probably nothing at all, on chocolate, because you would do the newspapers and you'd come upstairs and you'd go through the shop and there'd be all these chocolate bars and you think, well, that would be nice because it would be nice and cold from overnight,
Yeah.
So it's very, very easy to get hooked on stuff because it's the habit, isn't it? You don't really want it. It's just you can have it. You just all you do is reach out and take one. It's yours. So what did you used to drink? Beer?
Oh, well, Black Russians I got into.
Really?
Someone said to me one night, have you ever had a Black Russian? I said, no, what's that? And it was vodka, Tia Maria and Coke. And because the Tia Maria is so sweet, and it was like nectar, right?
Yeah.
But give it a year down the line, after that, I would be sitting at a desk doing paperwork all day. And most people would have a coffee, right? My coffee, I would go to the bar with a pint glass, 3 or 4 vodkas, 2 or 3 Tia Marias, topped up with Coke and ice, and I would be drinking that all day. I'm not proud, but, I had a massive tolerance for alcohol. And then, anyway, that folded, and then years later I worked for Bath Leisure, which was everything in Burton. It was everything to do with pubs apart from the alcohol. It was like jukeboxes, CD jukeboxes, video machines, all that kind of thing. And even there, on your salary, I can't remember now, every month or whatever, those that were salaried, you got so many tokens for what they called the staff shop, and I think you got something like 160 tokens. Now, that would have got you 160 cans of beer or 10 bottles of spirits, right? But in Burton, not everyone drank, but it was just so, everything revolved around alcohol.
Yeah.
But it's changed now. I mean, because Bass's was taken over by Coors. I mean, everywhere you went in Burton, you could see the red triangle of Bass. And then it was taken over by Coors, and I don't know, I haven't been down there for a while, because as I say, I'm in Troon. But, I mean, my daughter, she still lives in Burton-on-Trent. She's 14 now. And as far as I'm aware, she hasn't started drinking, but I think, my God, I worry.
Yeah, you do, but I suspect if she's well out of it, if she's not working in the entertainment industry, is she?
Oh, no. She's only 14 now, and...
Oh, right. Well, she's probably immersed in having a cup of coffee,
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd phone up and suggest it. I didn't realise you were on, and I just flicked over the digibox. I was watching Steve Irwin's daughter talking about him at his funeral, and I thought, I'm not watching this. It was quite sad, and I just flicked over to talkSPORT, and I thought, that sounds like Mike Allen.
And you were right.
And it just brought back a lot of memories, and I thought, I mean, at one point there was a Jane from Troon used to phone up a lot, nearly every Sunday night, and she's blind. And sometimes it was like Craig from Troon and Jane from Troon, and we were up against each other and all that, and it was really good.
Well, who knows? Strange things happen, Craig.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you that because you worked in entertainment. Take care. Thank you very much for the call. Thanks very much to John Hearn for tremendous support. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office website, for those who are concerned about the events in Thailand, it's www.fco.gov.uk. Have a great day today, and after the news, Alan Brazil's Sport Breakfast with Graham Beecroft, and I'll no doubt see you in the not-too-distant future. Thank you very much, John. Thanks for being there, as they say in America. I'm Mike Allen. You're listening to talkSPORT. John Gaunt will be here at 10 o'clock.